Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a concept we all kind of recognize, selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
And we're using a set of, well, pretty sharp observations. They're attributed to quotes by Mark at KIK, knowledge is king.
Right, and the mission really is to unpack what these insights suggest about the core nature of selfishness itself.
Exactly. What kind of picture do they paint?
Well, right off the bat, what really stands out is how negative it's portrayed, consistently draining.
Yeah, not just looking out for yourself, but actually like taking from others.
Precisely. It seems to be framed as something that actively diminishes things around it.
Okay, so the first observation gets right into that. Selfishness is always looking to feed off of something or someone.
Yeah, that suggests a kind of inherent dependency, doesn't it?
Like it needs an external source. It can't fuel itself.
That seems to be the idea. And that's echoed by the next one. Selfishness is a bottomless pit which exhausts all resources.
Wow, a bottomless pit. So not just wanting, but like an endless needing.
An insatiable quality, yeah. It suggests it can never actually be filled. It just keeps demanding more and more.
Okay, and then there's this comparison. Selfishness is like a parasite,
Ugh. Yeah.
always seeking to drain others for its own benefit. That really hammers home the one-sidedness.
Absolutely. It's all take, no give. The focus seems entirely internal on the self, possibly ignoring any impact on others.
So does that mean the needs of others just don't register at all in this view?
That's certainly what these descriptions imply, a
Yep.
distinct lack of reciprocity. It's all about fueling the self.
Okay, so moving from that draining idea,
Mm-hmm.
the next theme seems to be about consumption.
Right.
We get selfishness is a hungry beast that devours everything in its path. That's pretty intense language.
It is very visceral. It implies a certain carelessness too, maybe, devouring without thought for what's being consumed.
And it's not just material stuff, is it? Because the next one says selfishness thrives on the energy of others.
Yes, that's key. It extends to emotional or psychic energy.
Constantly seeking more to consume. You probably all felt that, right? Interactions that just leave you feeling wiped out,
Definitely. That's the kind of dynamic these quotes seem to be pointing at.
which leads to maybe the starkest image yet. Selfishness is a black hole that consumes without end.
A black hole. I mean, that really paints a picture of something inescapable and total in its consumption. Nothing satisfies it.
So it's not even about reaching a goal like getting enough. It's just the act of consuming itself.
That seems to be the implication here. A perpetual state of needing to take rather than achieving satisfaction.
Okay, so this consuming aspect ties into, well, exploitation.
Yeah, the next set really leans into that.
Selfishness is a leech, constantly draining those around it. Again, that persistent taking.
That constant, relentless drawing of value from others. And again, the idea of insatiability comes back. Selfishness is a never-ending hunger that can never be satisfied.
It's a recurring theme, this idea that it's never enough.
It really seems central to this particular view of selfishness.
Then we get these almost predatory images. Selfishness is a scavenger, always looking for something or someone to prey upon.
Scavenger. And also a voracious appetite that can never be filled.
Yeah, voracious. These words scavenger, prey, leech, beast, they're quite aggressive.
They are. They suggest an active, almost predatory seeking out of opportunities to take, to exploit.
So if you put those together, it's not just about having needs. It's this relentless drive to acquire and consume, often hurting others in the process.
That's the pattern emerging, yes. A
Right.
drive that seems indifferent to the cost for others.
And the final observation kind of sums up the impact, doesn't it? Selfishness is a toxic force that feeds off the goodwill of others.
Toxic is a strong word there. It really highlights the damage.
Right, because goodwill, that's kind of the glue for society, isn't it? For
Yeah,
relationships.
Absolutely. Trust, reciprocity, goodwill. These are foundations. And this view suggests selfishness actively erodes them by exploiting that very goodwill.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. These insights consistently paint selfishness as this, well, this draining, consuming force.
Always taking, yeah.
Exploitative, almost parasitic, driven by a hunger that just can't be satisfied.
An insatiable, bottomless pit. And ultimately destructive to the very connections it feeds on.
Right, poisoning the well of goodwill, as that last quote put it.
It's a very clear, if quite bleak, picture that emerges from these specific observations.
So final thought for you listening. Maybe consider how these specific traits, the draining, the consuming, the endless hunger, might show up in interactions, even subtly.
Yeah, how might these dynamics play out day to day?
And think about the potential consequences, not just for those being drained, but, for the hungry beast itself.
Right.
What happens down the line? What happens when the resources run out?
It's definitely something worth reflecting on.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.